I'm going to tell you exactly what a trigger is. We live in the emotional dark ages. That means most, if not all the people in our lives have not known how to be there for us emotionally. Now, what this means is that we've had many experiences throughout our lives that we've experienced emotional distress. Now, because people didn't know how to be there for us emotionally, that distress was never resolved. And emotional distress without resolution is what emotional trauma is. Now, in the moments where we would experience something like this, our survival mind kicks in, and in that moment we experience a split in the consciousness. If you think of consciousness as like water, like a river, and then you've got like a split in the river, it's exactly like that. Now that split are aspects, they're parts of you. You are an ecosystem, you're not one part, you are many parts. Think of it as like multiple personalities, but we only call it multiple personality disorder when it's really out of control. That's how every human works. So you've got these two aspects. Now in that moment, depending on what the experience is and what emotion you feel in that experience, it may be shame, it may be fear, it may be guilt, it may be apathy, it may be despair, it may be anger. Now let's use the example of anger. Now let's say as a child I have an experience where I feel angry and the people around me didn't accept me being angry, that they didn't accept that behavior, so they would scold me for it. In that moment, that scolding would be emotionally distressful for me, and because there's no resolution, now I create this split in my consciousness. One of the aspects is the one that's carrying the anger. The part of me that I've learned is not acceptable by the people around me. The other aspect will have specific behaviors that I have learned, which is what I need to be in order to be accepted by the people around me. But the one that's angry isn't accepted by the people around me. So what I do is I reject the one that is not accepted by the people around me. I reject it by putting it somewhere I don't have conscious awareness of, which is my subconscious. And then I take on the one that I learn is the one that's accepted by the people around me. So I take that one on and reject that one in my subconscious. Now your being, your human being, is constantly in communication with you. You have your feelings and you have your emotions. Your feelings are to get the conscious driver's attention to look at something, to give attention to something. So if I had a cut on my shoulder, I would feel tingly sensations. I may feel warm or cold. I will feel the sensation of pain. All of that is to get the conscious driver's attention to look at what needs attention. If I feel emotionally, it's the same thing. My feeling the emotion is getting the conscious driver's attention to look at your guidance system, which is what your emotions are. Now, the lower vibrational emotions such as anger, fear, shame, guilt, apathy, despair, all of those are our guidance system's way to show us that we are out of alignment of our natural state. And if I feel emotions such as love, joy, peace, enlightenment, all the higher vibrational emotions, that is my guidance system's way of showing me that I am in alignment of my natural healthy state. So as an adult, if I get triggered to feel the emotion of anger, what's actually going on is that my feelings are pointing me to an aspect of myself that I have rejected in my subconscious that is carrying the emotion of anger. This is the aspect that I learned to reject in the moment where I learned it wasn't safe to be angry. Something can happen in my outer world that will trigger that emotion. And because my entire being is constantly trying to give me feedback, I now understand why a trigger is making me feel this way. So in that trigger, I'm starting to take on the rejected part of myself, which carries the emotion of anger. But your entire life, you've been taught to continuously reject these parts of yourself. And yes, these are undesirable feelings. So what we do is we again suppress and push away and reject that part of ourselves. So even though in the moments the trigger's happening and this part of myself is coming forward in order to be healed, I don't like to feel that. I don't understand what's going on. I've always been taught to reject these parts of myself. That's how I found safety. So I'm going to continue doing that again. So now I reject that part of myself and push it back into my subconscious mind. The reason most people are overwhelmed is because we have hundreds, if not thousands, of these parts of ourselves that we've learned to reject, that we're constantly pushing away. Now, if you have hundreds and thousands of aspects of yourself that are carrying all of these lower vibrational emotions that are extremely overwhelming, constantly coming at you, how hard do you think it is to push all of them away all the time? This is why we distract ourselves. This is why we're addicted to whatever we're addicted to. Because in our sober conscious state, without any distractions, we can't keep pushing them away. So we intentionally go towards doing something, which is what allows us not to align with and feel these rejected parts of ourselves. But these parts of ourselves are what needs our attention. The whole reason you can feel is to get the conscious driver's attention to feel an emotion. The emotion which is showing you are out of alignment of your natural state, and that's because this part of you is carrying this emotion, and it comes from a time where you were wounded. Just like the cut on my shoulder, that's a wound. You're emotionally wounded, which is what needs healing, just like the cut on the shoulder will need healing.